Hi, I'm Chili Bin, and this is Raiden. We met on day 2 of our Appalachian Trail through hike and ended up hiking the whole thing together. Now we're in New Zealand. We just got married and we're off to explore the country together, hiking and tramping using mostly gear I made for us. Subscribe to come along with us as we explore the great outdoors. Hi guys, Chili Bin here. Yesterday we left Auckland heading south on our campervan adventure around New Zealand. Over the last month or so, we bought a van, stripped it down and converted it into our little home campervan, which is self-contained, ready to freedom camp around New Zealand. Before we get going on our adventure, I thought I'd give you guys a little tour of the van and show you some of the build process. Raiden and I can't wait to live in this for the next 4 months. We're really excited about this adventure. The van is a 1998 Toyota Hiace Grand Cabin with about 260,000 Ks on the clock. We bought it second hand through Trade Me. First thing on our agenda was stripping all of the seats out, as well as removing the curtains and the heater in the middle of the floor. The next step was to create the floor panels using plywood. Then we started creating the panels which would make up the kitchen bench and the benches which would also double as the bed. At the same time, in the evenings, I was working on covering the cushions that would make up the seats and the bed and making curtains. Once all the wood panels were cut to size, we took them all back out again and gave them several coats of varnish. Once the woodwork was done, it's time for electrical. We put solar panels on the roof and wired up everything inside. So here's the van today, fully completed. The roof is high enough so that I can stand up inside, but Raiden has to duck a little. Before we left Auckland, we got a self-containment certificate for the van. That means we have enough drinking water for the 2 of us for 3 days, a toilet with enough volume for the waste, onboard grey water tanks, and a rubbish bin. Having a self-containment certificate means that there are a lot of places that we can park overnight throughout New Zealand without needing to pay for camping. I made 2 sets of fly screens for the van, 1 for each side. This means that we can open the windows at night without needing to worry about bugs. These are just made with some fly screen from the local hardware store and magnets which attach onto the outside of the windows. We can leave these on the car as we're driving around without them coming off in the wind. Looking in the back, we've got 2 big cupboards. On the right hand side is the water and grey water tanks. We keep a hose in there to help us fill up our fresh water. And in the very back corner is a little tiny pump for our water supply. At the moment, the left hand side is a bit of a random storage locker. The most important thing in there is our gas bottle for our cooker, which is on the bench above. Everything else has just been jammed in there. There's some shoes, our tent, a bunch of tramping gear, and a solar shower stored in this cupboard. So if we head inside the van, we've got a big sliding door on the left hand side. Inside we have a big bench seat behind the driver and passenger seats, and then 2 smaller seats with the table between them. All of the seats in the van have storage underneath them. The big bench seat has Raiden and I's clothes underneath the main part of it, and then at the end is our electrical centre, including a 130 amp hour house battery, solar controller for 320 watts of solar panels, and our VSR. The little seat on the other side has storage under it as well. This one also lifts up, and this one has the bedding, towels, and board curtains underneath it. The little bench seat has a door that opens on the front. This has our toilet in it, as well as sleeping bag storage. Our electrics run from the house battery under the floor to this panel at the end of the bench. From here we control the house lights, which we have white lights for, as well as a dimmer yellow light, which is great in the evenings. On this panel we can also control the fridge and the water pump, as well as get a voltage readout, a 12-volt plug and 2 USB chargers. So this is our kitchen setup. We wanted to try and get as much kitchen space as we could so we could cook real meals. This is our sink. It's a pretty good size, and we have a little electric water pump to provide water here. The flow rate on it is pretty low, but it does the job alright. Next to the sink we have a 12-volt chili bin. It's got a 22 litre capacity and a little ice tray in it. It's the perfect size for everything we need. Next to that we have a 2-hob gas cooker, and further along the bench we have our little herb garden. That moves from the bench to the floor when we drive. Under the kitchen bench we have heaps of storage as well. In here we have our cutlery, crockery and all of our cookware. In the other cupboards we have the rest of our electrical equipment, our tramping gear, all of our food, as well as our rubbish bin and things like that. Around the tops of the windows we have rolled up curtains. I removed the existing curtains from the van and put these ones in instead. They just have Velcro ties at the top and then roll down to cover up the windows. At night the seating area turns into a queen-size bed. I've only done it a couple of times so far, but it doesn't take long, about 3 or 4 minutes. There we are, ready for another night in our van home and the next step of the adventure.